All right, everybody, welcome to episode 7, titled Between Fitness and Business. So, before I introduce our guest here, he is our first sponsor for Intel Within Podcasts. This is his supplement company brand, right? If you can see it here, Performance Supplements. This is his Korea Grow product. Now, I have personally known Alex, God, probably coming up almost a decade from USN, back in 2014 and up. I just want to read the back of this product here just to give you guys a heads up of what his pre and post training creatinine formula is in this card product. Okay, so real quick, the Korea Grow is the perfect pre and post workout creatinine matrix for adding muscle size and strength. Creatinine is the only form of creatine that stays intact before it enters the muscle cell with none of the negatives. Now, this is super key. I like how you have it highlighted on here for people. It's very easily readable. Supports ATP function, which we'll get into the episode. All right. Increases endurance and performance, increases muscle size and strength. And my favorite, supports glucose uptake, which is key for nutrient absorption and all that. Okay, guys? Now, this is the drink right here mixed up. Mixes instantly, tastes phenomenal. It is Performance Pop. Um, this is a great product, and there's obviously more to come that we're going to get set up here with Alex. So, first off, having our sponsor for this episode 7, and going forward is going to be a great thing. Now, I'm going to read you guys a synopsis that I have written down here. So, this is about Alex, of course. And so, he is a father, husband, cardiology device manager, and entrepreneur. Alex has over 20 years of fitness industry experience coupled with a degree in biochemistry. During his time over the past 20 years, you could have found him in John Wick, NBC's Blacklist, WWE Tough Enough, or even as a Planet Fitness Lunk, which, I'll put the link in the comments down below so you guys can check out that episode. During the day, Monday through Friday, he works with cardiologists and electrophysiologists to bring the best diagnostic devices to their hands to help patients all across Arizona. Early mornings and late nights spent in his warehouse building performancesup2ps.com. He is the CEO, marketing director, janitor. You name it, he does everything himself currently. Alex looks to continue to grow performance supplements with honesty and integrity, as well as bring you all the highest quality ingredients in the products the market has to offer, as well as be the best husband and father he can be. So without further ado, I want everybody to help me welcome Alex. Thank you for coming on, Alex. It's funny that we're just kind of like circling back, man. It's like we've been friends for a while.
Yeah.
And I think it really kicked off when I found out that you were from Pennsylvania. I was from Pennsylvania. I'm like, oh, dude, this guy is solid. It's too easy. And both in the fitness
Yep.
industry. So, yeah, it seems like there's a lot to go over and there's a lot to cover. But
Yeah.
man, I'm pumped that you got your own line, bro. You're doing it, you know?
Yeah. I know that when we started working together in like 2014 when I came to Dallas, and I was always afraid to do that stuff, man. I was like, oh, man, it's got to be a lot of money. It's got to be such a risk. And,
Mhm.
it took me years to sit back and say, I got to stop because I worked for GAT Sport, which is, a very big nutrition company, and also Blackstone Labs. And they were huge. And of course, people who love the fitness industry probably know all of their exploits. But man, I was always afraid because I see all the money that goes into it. And I'm like, I can't afford this. I can't do this.
Mhm.
But then, of course, you meet up with all these people that help you along the way, not financially, but they like, hey, you just do a small run and we see where it goes. And they want to build with you. And it was really cool. And I actually started it. And it was like in the little before the pandemic when I brought out Creagrow, my first product. And we'll get into why I did that other than other things. But man, it was such a journey, and looking back when we first met, I was, selling other stuff, and it was like, man, I could do this better. I know I could do this better. It was still good stuff, but
Mhm.
I know I could put my spin on it.
Yeah, and it was like, I mean, you helped me out. And for those of you that don't know, some of you do, um, I had my own supplement company back in late 2015, early 2016. Alex
Yeah.
right here was the first person I contacted because
Yes.
when you feel like you can trust somebody, you just go with your gut feeling. And I'm like, he's in the fitness industry. I'm in the fitness industry. He is a rep for these companies. He's got to know somebody. So I reached out to him. He's the
Yeah.
one that
Remember that.
helped me start, got the manufacturer going, did the whole nine. A couple anxiety attacks later, super stressful thing, doing everything by yourself.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't take anything. Man, let's put it this way: if I could do it all over again tomorrow, I totally would. I've thought about doing it before, but man, I'm just having so much fun doing this podcast stuff, and I
Heck
just don't
yeah,
want to
man.
put I don't want to put too much on my plate. And
Yeah, of course.
it's great to be a part of this, guys. We're gonna put a link and a code in the bio for y'all to jump on board and get some of these products that he has. How many products you have? 6?
So currently, and I'll tell everyone that
Yeah.
watches this, currently we're going through it. We're switching manufacturers, which is a big deal for me because the quality has to match, the flavors have to match, and the Korea Grow product is fully in stock, and I'm sitting in front of it now. I have hundreds of units, which is amazing. But the other stuff, which is and now my performance line is called Everything has Grow at the end of it: Vita Grow, Pre Grow, Basil Grow, Intra Grow, and Korea Grow. So there's 5
Okay.
performance-based products that are out right now, all but so Korea Grow and Vita Grow are in stock. Everything else went out of stock due to the manufacturing change and label updates and things like that. So everything will be here
Man, which
mid-June,
happens.
which is amazing. But yeah, so you guys will be able to have all the new flavors, everything come mid-June, which I'm super stoked about. I just got done improving them and they are unbelievable. So but yeah, you guys will be able to have to try some amazing stuff coming up
So,
soon.
so where did you grow up in Pennsylvania? I don't know if I ever asked you.
Yeah, so so for those of you watching, I grew up in exactly where The Office was supposed to be filmed in Scranton, Pennsylvania. There's the way good old Joe apparently was not from. So
Is Scranton n- uh like
north of Philadelphia.
north of Philadelphia?
Yeah, 2 hours straight up the highway.
So how far is Lancaster from there? Couple hours south?
So Lancaster is in the middle of Philly and uh um Scranton. So it's about an hour and a half probably.
Okay, yeah, because that's where I was born in Lancaster over there, in like I think it was called like Mariettaville. I could be
Yeah.
wrong. I haven't
No,
touched
yeah.
base with it, but yeah. So let's try to go from the beginning. What did you do as a kid growing up? Were you involved in sports? Like, what did you kind of do? What was smaller Alex, if you were smaller
Yeah.
at that time?
Yeah, no, it definitely was. So yeah, man, I could definitely say I was always a hyper kid growing up.
Mhm.
If ADD was a thing, I'm 37. If ADD was a thing back when I was a kid, I
Yeah.
had probably had it. I was hyper as heck. I played every sport unknown to man. I tried soccer. I played baseball. I was good at baseball. I played basketball, and I went to college to play basketball. Um, so I was always hyper. And it was crazy is when I was a kid, my parents were Russians. So my parents were really old school people, and they brought me up where if I wanted to buy something, I had to work for it. I had to actually make my own money for it, which completely threw me into entrepreneurship when I was 7. I had my own grass cutting business. I had, I think,
What?
10. I had 10 lawns at age 7, and that's how I would be able to afford to go to lunches, go to buy toys or whatever it was. And as I grew up, and I was like, end up like 10, 11, 12, and I had like 20 lawns I would do every single week. And I was
Dang.
like, people would call me the richest kid in the block, but I wasn't wealthy. I just made
Sure.
I just made my own money
Yeah.
because every other kid was just not doing that. So at that age, my parents instilled that into me to work for what I wanted. So let's fast forward into college. Of course, basketball. I played for a great basketball school in high school, and then played basketball in college for a D3 school. End up really started team sports for me was great, but
Mhm.
once I got into lifting and like I saw that if I moved a weight, I ate right, I changed. No one else around me could affect what happens to me but me.
Yep.
And dude, it was addicting because I was a skinny kid and all that stuff. And then like I got so much more respect from people. And like, you know, as a guy, you walk into a
Yeah.
bar when you're 21 and they're like, oh my God, dude, you're jacked. The feeling you get if someone comes up to you and says that is
Oh, it's your
it's
bench
euphoric.
press. Yeah, yeah.
Right, right. It's euphoric. So the work ethic from when I was a kid carried over into the bodybuilding world where
Mhm.
at my senior year of college, I double majored. So I didn't really have time for basketball, but I did hit the gym every day and I ate like a crazy person in the cafeteria. And I worked at GNC all through college.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, oh yeah, which is
Dude, I worked at
uh,
GNC
uh,
for like 4 hours, bro. I couldn't do it.
dude, I think everyone did it. I was in the fitness
Yeah.
industry at some point. So, dude, I did that stuff, and then just bodybuilding became an obsession. Like, dude, I
Yeah.
remember I was in my basketball house my senior year of college, making chicken. No, no joke, baking chicken in an oven during a house party, and I
Damn, you
didn't
that
drink.
dedicated.
Dude, I was hardcore, man. I was so hardcore,
But you stick
and
out, you know?
yeah, you know what, man. Yeah, listen, I drank and I did all my fair share of partying in my 20s and everything like that, but I had such a dedication to what I was doing. So then after that, I bodybuilding for me was just, it was like an everyday must do. But what that it taught me was, on top of my work ethic as a kid, it taught me super discipline. Like every day you're doing this, this, and this every day. And it was just a regimen thing, because if you look at now where you listen to these motivational speakers on social media and they're not talking about motivation. Motivation's terrible now. It's like a negative word. It's discipline. The word they're using is so important, because if you're not disciplined, that's what creates success. Motivation just gives you like the mental energy to do something. But if you do it wrong every single day, you're not going to go anywhere. But the
Yeah.
discipline to do it over and over and over and over, and just like in the fitness, you don't get instant results. So those results came from a long term of work. So growing up, college, bodybuilding, and then, man, no joke, I was working at GNC, and I was standing at the front where they call it the lease line, where the hallway of the mall meets the front of the store.
Mhm.
I was standing there just like fingers crossed. The store was dead. No one shopped at GNC where I'm from. So I was like standing there, and this little guy came up to me, and he's like, "Hey, can I take your picture?" And I'm like, "For what?" And this is Scranton, Pennsylvania, man. I'm talking like
Sure. Small
like
town?
not yeah, small town. And I'm like, "Take my picture." And like this at the point, I'm like 20 years old, in the 18, 19, 20, whatever you want to call it, somewhere around that age. And I'm like, yeah, it's a Polaroid camera. Like, what is he gonna do with a Polaroid? And I'm not like, it's not. It didn't get weird. It was just like in my GNC polo shirt.
Yep.
I stood against the wall, and he's like, "Don't smile, just stare straight." So took my picture. He's like, "Can you put your name and your email address and your phone number on the back of this? I'll
No
contact you
way.
later." And I'm like, "All right, man. Like, this is the weirdest thing in the world." So go back to college. 2 weeks later, I get an email from a guy named Daniel Peddle. And I'm like, this is the guy who took my picture. So he's like, sends me an email about, "Can you come to New York on these dates for a casting?" And in my head, I didn't know what a casting was. No
Sure.
joke, no clue.
Yeah.
No, I was like, what is this? And I was like, in my head, I'm like, casting, because I was into fitness, maybe
Mhm.
a casting a mold of my body, because people do the clay molds. Dude, it's the dumbest thing in the world. I thought of this. I'm like, a casting. Okay, this is,
Yeah.
maybe he wants to take a mold of my body. This is really weird. Didn't respond. So fast forward about a month and a half, I get another email, and I'm at my girlfriend's house, and she's like, "What are you reading?" I'm like, "This guy wants me to go to New York for casting." He's like, what is the fuck is this?" And she's like, "Do you know what that is?" And I'm like, "No clue." A mold of my body? And she's like, "No, you idiot. For like a photo shoot or a movie." I'm like, "What?" So I'm like emailing him back like crazy. I'm like, "Hey man, I'm so sorry. Like, I had no idea. Like, I wrote this novel on how I apologize." Like, so lo and behold, dude, he gave me a date. Show up at 5 a.m. And I live far from, kind of like 4 hours from Manhattan. 5 a.m. at in the meatpacking district at this address. Dude, never drove to Manhattan before in my life. I leave, and where I went to school was called Dallas, Pennsylvania. You know,
Oh,
no pun
weird.
intended, where we met, right?
Yeah,
So
wow.
Dallas, Pennsylvania. Drove there. I left there at like like 1:30 in the morning to
Oh,
drive
dang.
to Manhattan to be at this address this time. So I'm sitting there, and I don't know where to. I parked, dude. It cost me $100 to park that day. I'm a broke college kid. I barely had any money. So I'm like waiting. This
Wow.
van pulls up, and all these people get out, and they're like, "Are you Alex?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "All right, cool. Get in the van, and I was like, well, my car's parked down the street. They're like, okay, well, you can follow us. Cool. So we drive to Long Island from Manhattan. The craziest adventure of my life. I'm following this van of like these random people, hot girls, and like these people in like long raggedy clothes, like fashion people. And I'm like, this is so weird. So I go and show up at this park. We go into the woods, all this gear and all this stuff, and show up and lo and behold, who's there is that before she was a fucking mogul was Lady Gaga. So I'm in a photo shoot with this Lady Gaga's there. I'm dressed in like this crazy outfit in the woods and all this stuff. And it was for an editorial in a magazine. Dude, it was the best day of my life. They're like, they looked at me. I didn't even agree to money. I didn't have any contract, didn't have an agent, nothing.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, well, what do you want? And I'm like, $100 for paper parking. Like, I just, and they were like, cool. The guy whips out 100 and gives it to me, and I go home. That was it. And then let's fast forward. I fast forward as this agency, this big fitness model agency contacts me a few weeks later. They saw the ad, and I was I guess I call a free agent, and they signed me. And from there is Planet Fitness, and then it was John Wick, and then Blacklist, and it was just like a whole slew of shit that I didn't even dream about doing this in my life. Didn't think I could do it. Nothing, and it was just like a whole thing in my mid-20s, man. And it was like for like 5 years, I just traveled around the East Coast, just doing photo shoots and movies and shit. It was so much fun.
Dude, that's
like the short story of my life right there. And then my career had to start. Of course, I had to make money to pay back my damn student loans, which I owed $100,000 to. So being a starving actor and model, I couldn't do that. I would have defaulted and all that crap. But so I didn't have to get out of it. But if anyone listens to this, and if you ever did actual modeling before, not just IG stuff, your gigs are far and few between. Like, they are not like, you don't get paid every damn week. So most of these people are bartenders, bouncers, club people,
quick
and
cash.
You just got to make money until you get your break. And that's just how it worked, man. It was a crazy ride. It's crazy.
What a 180, dude. Like, at GNC, and this random person comes up. You have no clue. You're outside, and it's just boom, stars align. It jump started you. So you don't do that stuff anymore. You said you stopped it after John Wick, or?
So I stopped it after the WWE Tough Enough. So my wife, I met my wife in Philadelphia. A random story. I'll just say that quick because relationship stories are awesome. My girlfriend ended up moving to Alabama. We broke up mutually. I'm like, we're not going to make it. Like, I'm not going to stay faithful if you're in Alabama and I don't see you. It was the truth, man. And
it's your honest, man.
So I was, man, I was working out at this gym, and I knew this girl that worked the front desk. She's really pretty. Her name was Kim. I was like, Kim, you got any hot friends I can go on a date with? Like, I'm in a city. I moved to Philadelphia to live there because it'd be close to the train, so I can go back and forth to Manhattan. Mm-hmm. That's where the Planet Fitness shoot was. So I loved Philadelphia, moved there, and then she set me up on a date, and gave me my wife's number. My wife's name is Jamie. Gave me Jamie's number at the time. I text her. She didn't respond for like 3 weeks. She goes,
no communication before that, though.
No, just like, so hey.
It was just like hey, your friend gave me your number. She said you're hot.
Kind of thing. Yeah, very, very similar. I mean, it wasn't that creepy, but like close to being creepy. And then I was like, man, I shouldn't. And then so Kim texted me and said, hey, did you go on a date with Jamie? I said, no, she never responded. So then lo and behold, a day or two later, Kim's like, did you ever talk to Alex? And she's like, who? Because she thought she gave her some random guy her number at the bar one night because she worked in the bars in Philly and stuff. And she was like, no. So she scrolled through and saw my number, and she's like, oh, and she's like, that guy's a good guy. Like, you talk to him. Like, and so we ended up talking on 2 dates, and then we met. It was like January, February time. We met. And then this is right before I got, I was a demo rep at the time for Gap. So I was doing demos all around the Philly area and stuff like that. I wanted to work for the company. They gave me an opportunity. They're like, all right, well, if you do X, Y, and Z here in Philly, we're thinking about a job. I did it all, dude. I did it within like 2 days. I hit whatever they needed me to do. I was so excited. And they gave me the job. They paid for me to move to Dallas. So this is the story how we kind of met. And so it was February, March time. the VP of the company calls me up. He's like, all right, man, I just got all the numbers from Europa. They said you did great. I went on a field ride with Europa. We sold all the GAT stuff. Like I brought all the trunk stock we had and I sold it all. And it was so much fun. And then he's like, all right, man, I'm going to offer you the job. I'll get you official offer letter here soon. You got to be here by like July 4th. I'm like, oh my God, my life just got real. Like I have to move across the country. I just met this beautiful girl. Our things are going great. So I texted her and I was like, and I got the offer. I signed it. I didn't even think twice, dude. I was like, I'm going regardless. So I go to her apartment and I'm like, hey, listen, here's the deal. I got a job offer and I'm going. You can come with me or you can stay. This is the job of a lifetime. You know how much people want to work for supplement companies at that time. It was the best job in the world.
Yeah.
Get to lift every day, play with like supplements, go on to travel. It was the best
Meet
thing in the
people,
world.
everything.
Yeah, dude. Like it was just amazing. And she's like, let me think it over, but I'm gonna go. And I'm like, cool. And that was it. So she left her apartment. I basically threw all my entire apartment away because there was nothing in it really. I was just a poor fucking actor and went to Dallas, dude. Showed up at your door in USN. It was like, hey man, I'm out. Want to buy some GAT stuff?
Too easy, man. That's
yeah.
dang, dude. Freaking, that's like a ride or die right there.
Yeah.
I think earlier on in a couple of the episodes, maybe the first episode I launched, I talked about this, but I'll tell you because it was kind of like so my wife and I, we were dating at the time, and literally right after I met her, I randomly found tickets to go to Iceland for round trip for 7 days for like $400, super cheap,
That's
straight,
awesome.
dude, straight shot from Dallas. And I was like, hey, I bought this ticket. It's $400, it's round trip. I was like, do you want to go out of the country with me and go to Iceland? And she instantly was like your wife was like, let me think about it. But she was like, well, of course, I'm not going to miss this opportunity. She's like, just don't kill me over there because we just met.
Right.
So I'm
Right.
I was like, okay, she's funny. And
Fair
then,
enough.
that's like a small story of like how like quick that happened. Cause it was
That's
within
awesome.
like 2 weeks after we met. I was like, we got to get our ticket. We're going. So,
Yeah. Similar, dude. Similar. Yeah.
that's so funny. So you were in Texas, you said for 2 years?
Yeah, so I lived there between 2014 and the end of 2015. So it was almost a full 2 years.
God, dude, it seemed like so much longer, man.
Dude, it seemed like I was there forever, but you know what the crazy part is, and I will say this, I love Dallas, Texas. I love that whole area. Like the friends I've made, like you and I mean, every person that worked in the fitness world there, like, dude, it was just like there was egos and stuff, but they were so much more cooler. Like they all cared about lifting and training. And it was just like I knew I had so many friends that could just go to a gym. I would know 5 to 10 people, and I was only there for a year at the time. Like it was a really cool place, and the food was amazing. Like I love Dallas, dude. Dallas is forever be a place where I would move back to in a heartbeat.
Damn, as we're thinking about it too. We were thinking about it because getting medically retired in the military and because of the surgery that I had, everybody knows this. If you get medically retired at a certain percentage, you get a check for the rest of your life, right? I'm not sitting here trying to gloat. That's just what it is. And so we're like, okay, cool. If we go to Texas, and depending on a certain percentage, you don't have to pay property tax. But in other states, you do, like California, where I'm at right now, pretty expensive. But
oh, dude, I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, her family and friends are here, so we've been here for a year and a half. We're not struggling. Everything, we're making it work. And so we're like, oh, okay, where do we want to move to? Because when you get out, you have 1 year to move for free. The Air Force, or whatever branch you're in, they'll come and do everything for you, right? It's like thousands of dollars. So we're like, hey, let's go to Florida or the Carolinas or possibly Montana or Texas, but we're just going to stay here, dude. And I was just in Texas for 9 days, and I don't know what it is, man, but I don't know. Something's man, it's just not calling to me anymore, and it's just
and you know what? I haven't been back since the last Europa there. And
jeez, dude,
I think it was like before COVID, like 2018, I think. I loved it. Loved every minute of it when I was in Deep Ellum where I used to live, and I loved it there. But I can feel that. I can understand your sentiment to like when you go
Yeah.
back, you're like, it's not it anymore. It's not here. You know, I
Dude,
get it.
and when I landed today, like I told you, I was like, "Oh, I got back to the house. Now I'm gonna go lift." It's like when I got
Yeah.
back here, I'm like, and I don't know if it's because it's been a year and a half, but I was like, "Oh man, like I just love it out here. It's the weather and
What
our
part of
loc
California?
we're by Napa, like 25 minutes away.
Oh,
So
dude, sick. Okay.
yeah, so we're northern California. We're not
So
too
San Jose area.
more like an hour more like northeast.
Okay.
So you've got like Vacaville, which is like a closer city. You've got Fairfield, Vallejo, and then you've got Napa up here. We're like over here in the hills.
Got
We
it.
got a
Cool.
really
Cool.
nice area, but
It's beautiful weather up there, man.
dude,
I was there last
it's
year.
it's crazy, man. Like you could go to the a beach is an hour away, if that, no
Yep.
traffic, and an hour and a half northeast, Lake Tahoe, where it snows.
Oh,
Um,
dude,
and
Lake
so,
Tahoe is one of my favorite places in the world.
dude,
Love
it's
it.
freaking gorgeous. I'll send you some
Oh yeah.
photos offline of our recent trip, just a couple.
Oh, sick.
Dude, it's in April, it's still snowing up there. So we went and there was like 15, 20-foot berms of snow. It was insane.
That's sick.
And
That's sick.
yeah, dude. So yeah, our where we're at right now, it's like, man, when I touched down today, I was like, man, I freaking love it. We landed and it was 58 degrees, sunny. It was perfect.
That's beautiful. That's
Um,
beautiful.
so what moved you to where you're at now after you were in
All right.
Texas?
It's a great question. All right. So let's start off with for those of you out there, I know you know him. You know Jason Poston, right?
Yep.
All right. So super famous fitness guy. Him and I were best friends when we lived there, and we go work out together. We go eat lunch, and um, did no joke. We're eating donuts at Krispy Kreme, and this casting
As you
director
should.
called. Yeah, right. You know I love donuts.
Yeah.
Casting director called him, and he was like, "Hey man, can you audition for WDB Tough Enough show?" And Jason Poston's dude. He's a stud, pretty boy, and like he's like, "No." He's like, "Dude, I have the guy for you." I was sitting right across from him. He's like, "He looks like a damn wrestler." And
Okay.
the guy called me up and he's like, "Hey, can you send me a 30-second to a minute clip on you wanting to get it to be in the WWE?" And of course, I didn't want to be in the WWE. I had no aspirations to it, but it was just all for
Mhm.
television. That's all I cared about. And I sent it to him, went down the rabbit hole. All of a sudden, let's fast forward. I didn't even accept it yet. My parents called me, and everyone from Pennsylvania called me because the 3-hour time difference. They're like, the
Mhm.
2-hour time difference. They're like, "You're on TV on USA right now." I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And they're like, "You're going to be on
No.
Tough Enough." And I was like, "How do you know this? Like, what are you
Mm.
talking about?"
Yeah.
So the commercial came, and my audition tape came up, and I was one of the finalists. And the
Wow.
next yeah, I didn't even know. And so I was working for GAT at the time, and I called up my VP. I'm like, "Hey, Anthony, I got this opportunity, man. Like, uh, I'm not gonna pass this up. You know, can
Again.
I have my job? Can I have my job when I get back?" And he's like, "I don't know, dude." Lo and behold, let's get to the nitty gritty. He left GAT, and he's like, "Listen, we'll pay you under the table to work for High Tech Pharmaceuticals as a rep, and when you get back, your non compete will be up. I had a non compete for like 90 days with
Right.
GAT. It'll be up. You do some work, you do whatever, and we'll pay you a small salary." And basically figured out what I needed to live, and then that was cool. You know, it was nothing big, and um, I'm on the Tough Enough show, and they fired me, of course, because they were like, "We can't do this anymore." And it was a weird situation. I was like, "All right, cool, whatever. I'm on TV. I don't care."
Mhm.
So I get home, I get off the show. And for those of you that are going to watch this, go on the 2015 Tough Enough show, and you'll see me drown on national television in a lake in an alligator infested water in Florida. So that I can swim, by the way, but
Yeah.
I can't in deep water when I'm scared of alligators. Okay, so let's just get it out of the way. Um, so I get home, I have no job. She's not my fiance yet. My girlfriend, she's like, "All right, what do we do?" I'm like, "I got to call everyone I know. I'm going to call my friends, people that are connected." And lo and behold, I had Aaron Singerman called me 2 days later and gave me a job at Blackstone. So worked for Blackstone in Texas for a little while. Great time. At the time, I had a great time with them. And then we, a position's opening up for the West Coast. because there was already someone in Southern Texas in Houston. And I was like, hey, so what I did was before we left to go to, no, I'm sorry. Let's back up. I was proposing to Jamie that Christmas.
Mhm.
All right. And her dad and I was taking her dad to the airport, and I asked him to marry her. And he goes, he accepts. He's like, yeah, absolutely. We have a relationship. And I'm like, okay, so I'm going to make you a deal. This is before this happened. I'm like, I'm going to make you a deal. If I could ever move Jamie close to you, I will. 100%. You got my word. They just moved to Arizona. A position opened up in the West Coast. I called up PJ Braun and Aaron Singerman. I said, hey, I'll go there. Just pay for my move. They paid for my move. And I shipped out I had a cool 350Z. Remember that car?
Yep.
The
Yep.
Blackstone car. That was my car. I shipped it out to their house, and we ended up driving across the country again with our 2 dogs. And yeah, so I worked for them for a while, and then up until March of 2016, that's when all that Blackstone stuff happened, where it's we can get into it. I have no problem talking about it, but
Where it is now,
that
yeah.
is, yeah, so that's what happened there, and that's how I landed in Arizona.
Dude, wild, bro.
Yeah, crazy.
So, okay, so how long have you been in Arizona?
Since 2016, January 1st, 2016. Yeah.
Man, I just can't get past that. It's insane.
Yep.
Have you ever been? So this is real popular in Arizona. Have you ever been? So I'm gonna hit you with 2 things. Have you ever
Sure.
been to Lake Pleasant?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever done the Renaissance Festival?
No. It
Oh,
just passed. I have
did it?
not done it yet. No.
It's
No.
of course it's been a very long time because I used to live in Arizona for I think 16 years, and back then I got to Arizona I think in '95, and then man, the Renaissance Festival was like the thing to do every year. It was so badass. It was awesome. I don't know how it
Yeah,
is
I
now.
heard nothing but good things
Yeah.
about it. Everyone loves it here. Yeah, it's like a whole week long thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wicked, man. And man, it was such a good time. I don't know why it was like a big thing in Arizona, but I think where that Renaissance Festival was, I think it was near Chandler. It
So it's in by Gold Canyon. So it's going, if you were leaving Arizona and you wanted to go back to Texas,
yeah.
it's that direction. It's almost
Okay.
out that way. Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, it's the
Yeah,
location. Yeah, it was
yeah.
pretty good. Okay, so now you've been in Arizona. So the how did you land doing the cardiology device for I'm sorry, cardiologists and electrophysiologists?
Yeah. So I have a degree in biochemistry, and I have another degree in business. So, man, throughout my entire career before GAT, man, before all, I wanted to work for a pharmaceutical or med device company because the amount of money they make is awesome, right? It's what I was told, and um, I just had a passion for the medical world, and I love sales and all that stuff. And fast forward to 2018. So I worked for GAT. I worked back at GAT when I end of 2016, I went back to work for GAT, which was great until 2018, where I went to work for Medtronic. Medtronic is one of the largest med device companies in the
Yeah.
planet. I worked in gynecology, in surgery, so I would see things that I don't want to see.
Bodybuilders.
So I had nightmare.
Just kidding.
Oh, I saw some downstairs stuff that I just did that was not pleasing, or appetizing, if you want to call it that. So
For some.
yeah, for some. So it was interesting. I loved my job, and I had a great time at it. And then I was just the working for a large company, and then talking to the people. The money wasn't there that I thought it was, and I was like, this isn't normal. I'm
Mhm.
working my butt off for not what I thought. So I started researching other companies, and lo and behold, the company I work for now is like the top diagnostic heart monitor for detecting arrhythmias in the world, and didn't know that.
Oh.
Had no idea what that stuff was, but I interviewed for it, and the manager, she's still my manager now, she liked me, and yeah, so I go in and out of offices all day talking with doctors and electrophysiologists. And for those of you that don't know what electrophysiologists are, they're the electrician of the heart. So your heart is muscle and electrical pulses and how blood moves and all that stuff. And I won't get into it because it could be a long, daunting, exhausting conversation, but they are the smartest of the heart doctors. Now there's a whole different hierarchy of heart doctors. There's cardiologists, there's interventional, there's a whole list. They're at the top.
Mhm.
So they're the smartest people, and they are the most critical of devices and stuff like that. So they're the hardest to talk to because you don't want to try to step on their toes because they will just crush your feet very quickly with their knowledge. And so cutting that story short, man, it was just my succession into that, which is man, I love my job, and that's what being a business owner now with a company, I won't leave my job because I enjoy it. I literally enjoy it. And my dad got diagnosed with a heart condition last year when I first started working for this company, which was crazy. This terrible coincidence. And he had a heart attack at some point, either the day before or years before. There was damage done. Okay, they don't know the timing of it. And if my dad did a diagnostic test like that many years ago, he would have been, and he's still alive, thank God. He would have been way better off now than he is. So I have a personal attachment to it and a passion for it because my dad has a heart condition. So man, I really like what I do because it does save lives. Not that immediately, but it's if the detection's early enough.
Yeah, it's like a solution.
Yeah, man, it's preventative, and
Yeah.
it's such a cool thing to work under, and very hard job. I wouldn't. Not everyone can do what I do, and I'm not saying I'm cool, but man, it's daunting because the conversations you have are very in depth medically, and or you want to use the word clinically, and I just love it, dude. It's awesome.
How long have you been doing that job?
I've been at this company for a year.
Oh, okay. And now is that the one that I used to see you like constantly traveling to Vegas back and forth, or was it?
No, that was Medtronic.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
okay.
now I'm lucky enough where I don't have to leave the state anymore. That's
Oh, okay.
and the biggest reason why I left Medtronic is because for the viewers out there, I have a 16-month-old son, and I know you have kids too. It's the most important time of their lives right now, man. I don't want to be gone 3 or 4 days a week and missing things and be not maybe able to, like, I took today off because my son had a fever. I couldn't do that in a surgery such as a setting because I had to be in surgery. I don't have to go in offices today. Text my boss, hey, my son has a fever. She's like, cool, see you talk to you Monday. Like,
Too easy,
super
bro.
chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's just awesome. So like, I wouldn't trade it for the world right now because the work-life balance is that amazing. And a lot of people can't say the same thing for what they do. They're gone all day or whatever that may be.
So what's your what's your plan in the next 5 years with that company, and then of course what you're doing now with the supplements? Like
Yeah.
where are you going to kind of go from here?
So my and this is it's not a lofty plan. It's building to that point where I just have to be able to make enough money to where I'm at now because my wife's she's a pediatric nurse, which is a blessing.
Oh, dude,
She
that's
has great
awesome.
Yeah, she has great insurance, and which is a great. She works for Phoenix Children's Hospital, which is a
Mhm.
world-renowned hospital. He has free healthcare under her. He's free, 100% free, like nothing, no copays, zero, and as long as it's done in a Phoenix Children's facility. So I'm not worried about the insurance portion having a child. You always want to have insurance, of course, because it's a big thing. Insurance is expensive, so we know that she can carry that portion. And my whole point is to make enough money for us where if I ever had to pay for a surgery, the $10,000 to $20,000 or something of that nature, I can do it. That's the goal. Having enough money in the bank to be able to afford our life if something happened. Not to live and live lavishly, but to be able to
Yeah, have a safety
sustain.
net.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's where the company needs to get to. And for those of you out there that are entrepreneurs or business owners or whatever you want to call yourself, that's a reality because you pour every dime you have and extra money that you make back into the business in order to grow it. So I got to get to the point where I have money and I invest it into the back in the company, but then I have more money. That's the whole point. So and again, I didn't create performance supplements to be rich at all. And I know you know that, Chris. Like I have a passion for
Shit.
supplements. So I didn't
Yeah.
create it to go here and be a millionaire like some of these other guys. Yes, I hope it happens. I'd be dumb to say if I didn't, but I
Yeah.
created the company because I love supplements. The day you met me, you could probably feel how much I loved supplements. It's just a passion I have. And I'll get into Krieg and talk about what that
Oh
product
yeah,
is
we're
and
gonna
why I
cover
created
them.
it. And so that's kind of where I want it to go. I mean, between the next 3 to 5 years, I want to be able to step away from a full-time career and live my life inside this warehouse. And but the best part is my goal is not to, and I think some people can really relate to this. Everyone asks me, what how do you view wealth? I view wealth as freedom. So if I don't have to report to a single person the rest of my life, other than my wife, and everyone's wives are probably clapping. Yes, yes, that's true.
Yay!
I'm wealthy, and it's not a dollar amount. It's freedom from not working for anyone again. Like if I need to take off to go to my son's whatever, I don't have to worry about that. I don't have to worry about juggling my schedule.
Yep.
I don't have to go to my warehouse if I don't want to. That's success to me. That's where wealth comes in. When my time is my own and I control it.
Yeah, man. It's not to get into like a long story, but when I was doing the supplements, and the reason why I did the supplements is because being in the store all day and essentially being self-taught, either by myself, researching consistently, because I I'm this is how I'm built. If somebody asks me a question and I don't know the answer to it, I feel like I failed that person. And
Sure.
I don't want to fail. I think that is, I would probably say that is like one of my biggest fears, is like failure, but I
Sure.
welcome it. And the reason why I welcome it is because it builds such a strong foundation and for you to overcome things. But not to go down like a rabbit hole, but being in that store and seeing the hundreds of brands that we carried and whatever the case may be, and
Right.
you've got these no name, and I'm not going to name any companies, but I'm just going to tell everybody how it is. You've got these no name products that are coming on the shelves, they're hitting distributors, and they're shit products. You
They
just
are.
know it. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you've felt this way at some point, or maybe you do, but I look at these ingredients and I'm like, okay, cool. Why is this ingredient dosed at this amount? What is the efficacious dose of this ingredient? And
Right.
once you really dig into it and you see what the efficacious dose is for something to work inside the body once it's like broken down and absorbed,
Right.
dude, there's so many very big companies that are being crazy freaking cheap and giving
Mhm.
people shit dose products. And that's why I made my supplement company. And there are some reasons why it's not around today, doesn't matter. Um, but at that time, people, and I'm going to be honest, I hear a lot from everybody. I was like a threat because I was in the store and people thought I
Yeah.
was trying to push my product. And, um, if Austin sees this, I mean, I'm pretty sure he can vouch for me. I
Sure.
never once pushed my product. I gave it as an
Right.
option to people just like any other brand, right? Somebody
Yep.
comes in and they're like, "Hey man, what pre-workout that you got that's going to make you want to chew on cinder blocks and run through walls?" I'm like, "Oh dude, this one right here." But then if
Right.
somebody comes
Right.
in and they're like, "Hey, what about this product X, Y, and Z?" And so that's what I did, but
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
it's
Absolutely.
it's wild to me, dude. Like how many ingredients and companies,
Yep.
um, just like penny pinch. Like in back then, the ingredients, excuse me, the ingredients to whatever they dose something at, say it was 1,500 milligrams, and the efficacious dose was 2,500 milligrams. Well, my manufacturer, who you knew or who you know of through Mike, um,
Right.
he was like, "Oh, dude, it's 8 cents." I'm like, "8 cents what?" He was like, "Oh, it's 8 cents more to get it to where that
Yes.
is." And I was like,
Yep.
8 cents? He's like, "Yeah." I was like,
Yeah.
so I thought to myself, you got these companies that are making
Yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars, and I'm thinking to
Yep.
myself, you're giving somebody a product, you're recommending one scoop, and it's got 1,500 milligrams, and it's not effective until it hits 2,500 milligrams, and it's broken down in your body. And
Right.
oh man, I don't know. I just feel like I could go on that
Dude,
that that
it's
tyrant forever.
It's very, very prevalent in the industry that we love. It's unfortunately too prevalent, but and I had a conversation with a guy that I know at GAT. He's up in like the New York area. He came out with his own pre-workout like everyone does. The first product they put is a pre-workout,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's fine. It's all good. And he sent me he's like, can you take a look at it? And I was like, sure. He sends me the label, and I said, dude, who did this?
Oh,
And he's like, well, I did. I have all the experience. I was like, bro, you have 500 milligrams of beta alanine. The efficacious dose is 3.2 grams. What? So I tore his label apart, and I'm like, listen, don't bring this to market. He's like, dude, it's in production right now. It's coming out in like a week. And I'm like, listen, I won't buy this for my website. I won't. I'm telling you right now, if you launch this, you're gonna have a problem.
dude.
So 4 weeks later, he texts me back. He's like, dude, the label had an error. And I was like, don't tell me the label had an error, because dude, I checked that, and I have 18 other people check the damn label. No one told you that this was terrible. And he's like, no. I'm like, yeah, you need to get those people away from you if they're not going to tell you that this was not right. And he's like, the product has X, Y, and Z in it. I was like, first of all, you're asking for a lawsuit. That's a false label claim. You can't do that.
Dude.
And he's like, all right, we're just gonna run through it, and then we'll read it. We're gonna redo labels. I was like, okay, I'm just warning you. So, dude, the bottle looks cool. It looks nice, and it's fine, and it's a hardcore, but it's not hardcore in formula. It's more hardcore looking, and I don't want anyone to fail. I don't care who they're after. My enemy. I want everyone to succeed and be successful and have a great life, but do things the right way and don't come out with crap. And that's what you said. It's like you see all these penny pinching ingredients on labels, and it's like, well, now it's different. The costs are different. You know that
Yep.
during COVID, supply chain issues, things are way more expensive. What used to cost $8 to make now costs 15. It's all different
Yeah,
now. But
dog.
yeah, it's crazy. But so yeah, man, it's the manufacturing portion of this industry is crazy, because anyone can come out with a brand. People listening, you got 10 grand, you can come out with a product if you want. Sure,
Yeah.
by all means. But
Yeah.
if it's going to be good, you got to know what you're doing. And I'll tell you right now, there's a lot of people who I've met that work for big companies that don't. There's some great brands out there. Then I'm gonna name them right now that are amazing. For those of you watching, listen, my performance supplements will be on this list someday, and I'm always honest when I say this. My products are phenomenal. Are they the best stuff in the world? No. The only reason I say that is because no one can crown me the best in the world, because I'm not going up against anyone. I'm my own entity. My pre-workout is good, very good, solid. My Career Grow is amazing, but other brands to watch and really purchase their stuff. My favorite brand in this whole world right now that I would use everything they carry is NutriBio.
Oh, dude, fantastic, bro.
NutriBio is by far one of the
Does
best
Dan
brands.
still work for them?
Yeah,
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 good,
yeah,
great guy.
yeah, dude. They they put even to the gram of sweetener they have in the label. Like, they are so buttoned up in what they do, and they make amazing products. And like, they're the brand that I would say would stand the test of time. That is that good. They're so compliant on everything they do. But there's so many brands out there that they come across. I just got this box in. Like, companies send me boxes full of stuff to try and test. And I try, depending on the ingredient profile, I try everything. And that's what, if you see back here, there's some products you'll see in the background. Everything I've tried it, and I liked it. The formulas, I've researched them, and all that stuff, because I'm not going to sell products to my consumers that aren't good. And I don't want to do that. And I had a question the other day. They're like, well, if you have your own brand, how can you sell other brands? Well, I'm never going to create a fat burner. I'm never going to do it. Do I hate fat burners? No. Do I think they're really good? No. But their energy,
Yeah.
they make you feel hot. Are they going to help in the process of burning fat? Sure, they will. Are they going to make you skinny? No. Would they have 10 years ago? Yes. But
Yep. I know
not
where you're.
today.
Yeah. Yep.
So, yeah, there's stuff that I'm never going to create, because I have a certain level of expectations for what I want to do, and I won't create it. But there's brands I love, and I supported them for years, and I think their stuff's great. I'm always going to sell it. Am I going to come out with a protein? Probably not for a long time because it's very expensive. So I have
Dude,
other
yeah.
proteins that I enjoy. So we're getting a big rabbit hole, but for those of you listening, watch what you buy, and do not buy anything from Walmart at all, ever. If there's a brand in Walmart, they made a specific formula for Walmart to make it cheap, 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 and it's not efficacious. I haven't seen anything in Walmart that actually is going to work other than give you energy. That's it. So
Yeah, no, it's to touch base on the NutriBio with you, man. I think do you remember what their carb product was? What the name of it?
yeah, it's right here.
Here we go.
Super carb.
Yeah, super carb.
Yeah,
The profile on that
yeah,
supplement
amazing.
is
Yep.
fantastic, dude.
Dude, it's so for those of you watching or listening, supercarb is highly branched cyclic dextrin, the most efficient carbohydrate your body can take in history in the world. Also, they couple it with a massive electrolyte blend. So this is like sugarless, even though it's carbohydrates. There's no sugar in it. It's super Gatorade. Super Gatorade.
Yeah,
This
on
stuff
roads.
is revolutionary.
Yeah, their stuff is, man, it's, and I've known Dan for a while, man, and dude, their company, fantastic, great stuff. I know a lot of people like, I think it's the leg day now that they have. That was
Yeah,
like
yeah,
newer
yeah.
to me.
Cool.
It is
Yeah.
good stuff, and the protein, like you were saying, holy cow, bro. The I hear people only at the time back then that they only did protein to gain shelf presence, just because
100%.
you
Yeah.
you lose money every time you make a bottle almost, you
There's
know.
a there's a protein I have, and I know the owner very well. And he was like, "I sell it to you. I make a penny. That's how much that cost me." I was like,
Yep.
"Dang!" And
Yep.
he's truthful. He's not lying because I know how much it costs. And he's like, "It's just something to do because everyone wants to complete your line, and
Yep.
they want everything for you." And I was like, "I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I've already tried to make one, and it's I could buy it cheaper from a company than I can make it for myself. So
Dude,
it's not happening. Not
yeah,
yet.
too wild. All right. So let's touch base on, I got some questions here for you, sir.
Do it.
How long have you been bodybuilding or working
I
out?
have
You know,
been
because I know you've
So
competed.
working
So
out since I was 16. So
okay,
I've been lifting for basketball since I was 16. Hardcore to compete since I was 20. So 17 solid years.
damn,
Yeah.
it's fucking awesome. What kind of triggered you or sparked you to want to compete? Like, did you see somebody in a magazine? Did you see an athlete? You know, were you just like, dang, I like the way these people's bodies look, and going through the ringer of training and dieting and the whole nine?
So honestly, it's kind of very similar to I think what a lot of people do today. From what I talk about here and talk about, there's many things for things, but I had a buddy tell me to compete. He's like, "Dude, you should compete, bro." I was like, I have the pictures, which I'll send to you.
Okay.
I looked like I had no legs. I'm 6'5". Okay, so for
Yeah,
those
you're
of you out
giant.
there, a 6'5" bodybuilder is not an effective bodybuilder. But I had no legs. I had great abs and chest. So I was great and all, but no legs. It was like a stick figure, and yeah, I had a buddy, blow smoke up my butt, and he was like, "Yeah, dude, you should compete," and I did, and didn't do a real prep. I just didn't eat carbs for like a week, and I went on stage.
Jesus. Got it. I'd
That's
be
it,
skinny as hell, bro.
Yeah, I know. It was.
Um,
Yeah.
and then so we'll kind of jump a little bit forward. Um, John Wick, how did that come about?
So,
I saw that
um,
movie because of you, by the way. You
dude,
told me.
love that movie. It's so good. Such a good
Yeah.
movie. So yeah, I was in the midst of my acting career. I took some commercial acting classes, so how to get into character, how to audition, and stuff like that. And it, I'm Russian, of course. I can do a Russian accent. I have Russian tattoos. I went to do every Russian role that I auditioned for that came about in that time period. And of course, this whole movie was just about Russians. That's all it was really. It was just the
Yeah.
Russian mob and the Red Circle and stuff like that. And Man, I auditioned for it. I auditioned for a part that I didn't get. I was supposed to be one of Yuri's his friends, and I didn't. I was too tall for that I was going to be look too different. And then I've got another role in it. So it was kind of like, I think I auditioned like 3 times for it, which was really difficult because I had to do a lot of physical stuff, like fake fighting and all that stuff like that. And yeah, it was just nerve wracking, dude. Like 3, 4 auditions of it, and it was just a long drawn out process. And eventually got a call that I got the part. And the time I had to shoot, shot for 3 days for like a small scene in Manhattan. So it was a fucking blast, man. It was the best time of my life.
So
And
for
meeting Keanu Reeves, dude.
yeah,
That
solid
awesome,
dude.
dude. And he's like 6'2". He's not short.
Oh, is he
He's
really?
kind of a big guy, not like big, like muscular, but like tall.
Yeah.
And dude, he's definitely one of my top 3 like fanboy people now. Like after working with him and stuff, and nicest guy in the world.
So for the people that are watching, tell them where at in the scene they can find you in the movie.
So if you got on YouTube and you do John Wick safe house scene, so you're going to see Yusuf yelling at his friend, "Turn off the damn game." I'm in that room with my other friend. His name is Kazi. His real name's Kazi. He was actually in Denzel Washington's movie. He has 2 of them.
Equalizer?
Equalizer.
Yeah.
He gets his throat cut. He's one of the thugs in the second one. Kazi's in there with me, and we're in a room above a warehouse, and John Wick starts speaking Russian. He is on a mic and he's picking people off in the safe house, and then he shoots his friend through the headphones, and then you see me grab Yusuf and run downstairs, and I get shot in the face by John Wick, very valiantly. So yeah, so that's the scene. I have a hat on, but I have my scruffy beard and stuff like that. Yeah, it was awesome.
Okay. So do you want to essentially break a myth on a very popular carbohydrate?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so I know people are going to see this and they're going to know it and they're probably going to laugh, but can you break this myth, I guess, on the whole white rice, brown rice debacle?
Okay. In terms of what's better?
Yeah, because I mean, over the years, I know you've heard this. Everybody's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, brown rice is so much better. Don't eat white
Yeah.
rice."
So brown rice is a little slower digesting, so it's a little more complex carbohydrate. So it really depends on the person. So my body loves simple sugar, which that's what rice turns into, simple sugar. It digests very fast. So if which one is better than the other, there is none. Now, the only nutrients white rice has is carbohydrates. That's it. Brown rice has some fiber. That's what makes it more fibrous. That's what makes it break down a little bit slower. It's a polysaccharide. So if you are, and I will be completely transparent, if you are overweight and you're heavy, you do not want white rice because it'll break down too fast and stores glycogen if you don't have much movement in your body or in your day. Brown rice will break down slower, will keep you a little bit fuller longer. Definitely doesn't taste as good. But so in a nutshell, that's it. So it doesn't mean brown rice is better, and doesn't mean white rice is not. It just depends on the person eating it, what you're apt to. Like if you have if you're insulin resistant, which means your body doesn't break down sugar well, you do not want white rice. It'll spike your insulin way high. Brown rice would be better for you.
Yeah, it's like for me, I love sweet potatoes, but man, when I have sweet potato like fries or just outside of like cubes, if I eat I mean, to be honest with you, I've experimented so much with the food. Like if I eat over a cup and a half of sweet potatoes,
Yeah.
dude, it makes me lethargic for some reason.
Get tired.
Dude.
So you and I are very similar. So if I do that, the reason why is because the energy breakdown into ATP is slower. So I'm used to sugar. Like I can eat 6 donuts right now and never gain a pound. My body likes to break down sugar, quick acting sugar.
Identical.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yep. That's why I get tired too. Yep.
And it's awful, man. And I'm like, damn, I can't ever eat this. And that's exactly
Yep.
well, I guess so exactly, but that's how my body that I've come to know and like how it reacts with brown rice. I can't eat it, dude. I can't
Nope.
eat it. I'm super sluggish, can't do it. But I
Yep.
can sit there and
100%.
slam 2 cups of white rice and be
Easy. Done.
golden, dude. It's
Yep. Easy. Yep.
that's my favorite part. Okay. What
Oh,
is
heck yeah.
your you like red meat?
So not anymore. I'm not a big red meat fan. I used to be
Okay.
huge red meat guy, but I don't like. I'm not. There's no reason for it. I just
Mm,
lost the taste for it. That makes sense. Like I just,
really? Okay.
yeah. My wife loves steak, dude. She'll eat a steak, a big 8 ounce steak in minutes, seconds, dude. It's crazy. She loves it. But me, I'm just like,
What
yeah,
so what do you do? Just chicken? Fish?
yeah. Basically, chicken. Yeah, it's mostly just chicken, whey, egg whites. I'm a huge fan of Egg White International, that the liquid egg whites that I buy that stuff a lot. So my
Mm.
protein sources are whey protein, egg whites, and chicken. Really, that's it.
Does your wife like bison?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I do too. It's just I don't seek it out. I'm not like, oh my god, I need it, but no, it's good. Oh yeah, bison's
Yeah.
amazing.
Man, it's when COVID hit, bison used to be like in 3 packs and you could get it for $20. And
Yeah,
now they took away that
like
third
50.
pack and now
Uh,
you can only get two for like $25 depending on where you go. But yeah, I was seeing
yeah.
if you had any preferences as like what your like favorite like red meats are or whatever that case.
No, yeah, I used to. So my all time favorite, which is gonna people probably their heads are gonna explode. It's London broil.
Really?
So, and everyone's like, dude, you're an idiot. London broil sucks. I don't like fat in my food, like my meats. I don't like eating it. So either filet mignon or London broil. London broil is fatless.
So I
So,
agree with you.
yeah. And that is what actually beef jerky is made of. London broil.
I did not know that. Maybe that's why
Yep.
I
So
like it so
beef
damn much.
beef jerky is made of from London broil, and I eat my steak. Yeah, man, I'm sorry to say this. I eat my steak gray, just how I liked it. I don't eat it red at all. So
Not even
I
just
eat it
like a
like,
medium rare?
nope. Not at
Dang,
all. I
dude.
know. So also too, man, that's why I don't eat red meat much anymore, because I just destroy it. And everyone that loves it is like, oh my God, you're disrespecting the meat. And I do. Absolutely do. Yeah.
um okay, here, let's see what else I got. Let's see. How is life as a father and a husband, dude?
Man, everyone told me life would change, and it did. It's no longer about me anymore, man. Everything's about him. And yeah, it's crazy. The married life is exactly what everyone thinks it is. It's good. It's up, it's down. It's like you argue, you love each other, and I mean, it's the same thing, and it's all about. And I realize this: being married is all about how much you could put up with of the other person, vice versa, and stay with them forever. That's
Mhm.
marriage. And having our little guy, man, it brought us closer, which is great, and we find ourselves arguing over the dumbest stuff. Like, oh, you're gonna give him Tylenol, I'll give him ibuprofen. Like, we argue about that stuff, like it's just random, like stupid stuff. But we have a common goal, and it's his life, his success, his health, which is really cool to see if you like actually step back and look at it. That's what we do every day. It's making sure he's taken care of in the best way possible, and we come together to do that as a team, which is it's awesome.
How old is he now?
It's 16 months.
Wow, I thought he was the same age as my son.
Yeah, we had a
Dang.
he's
Oh, you never
yeah,
mind.
20 December 3rd, 21.
That's okay. Yeah, my youngest one, Casey, they're similar in age because Casey's almost a year and a half. So that's what it
Right.
was.
Yep, yep, yep.
Let's see. Okay, so um, gosh, let's kind of go random here. So you've competed. We've known competitors, athletes. Um, what is your thought process, or like how you would maybe prevent it on for the people that do compete, the post show depression?
Oh man, I went through that in my last show, actually, when I competed at the Arnold in 2018.
Hmm.
Um, it was more of a it was body dysmorphia was real. Like, I was trying to
Yeah.
hold on to my physique, and I had the best physique of my lifetime at that show, and I was trying to hold on to it for such a long time, and it's not sustainable. You can't stay in that shape. So I think to avoid that post show spiral, body dysmorphia, depression, and whichever you want to call it, man, you just have to realize why you're doing it. If you're doing it for social media, if you're doing it for someone else, if you're doing it for anyone but yourself, it's going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
If you do it as like you're stepping on the court for your basketball game or the field for your baseball game, that's why. If it's your sport, your hobby, your interest, but for you, for no one else. And everyone knows when they compete, if you are a competitor out there listening, you know that the process leading up to the show is awesome. You post all your pictures, but you're doing it for the gram. And that's what everyone does now. I think bodybuilding blew up into what it is because social media and everyone shows off what they do. And I think to avoid the depression is remembering why you started, remembering why you're competing, and stay in that lane. I don't want to say this because I don't want to bring negativity to anyone's dreams, but don't do it and think this is what you're going to do for the rest of your life as a career. Do it because you love it. Yep. Do it because you want to beat the guy or girl next to you. That's why you do it. You don't do it because you're going to make millions of dollars. I've met pros in Dallas who are broke as shit. They have no money and they work shit jobs. They have no sponsorships. After they got their pro card, they thought money was just going to come in, and that's not the case. So do it for you and you only.
So to kind of caveat off that, do you still coach or do any type of like, nutritional things for people, or have you kind of backed it up a little bit?
So I go through phases, man. Like I have one competitor. He's competing in like 2 weeks. He's like 6'6". He's a tall dude. Men's physique. He looks great. And I have a lot of regular people, and for the most part, I'm going to say 40% of those people are really good to work with. 60% suck. So I flop back and forth. There'll be a time where I won't have any clients because I don't want to fucking deal with anyone. And it's the God's honest truth. As a coach, if I give you, and I always ask my clients this straight up, we'll do a Zoom call, kind of like what we're doing here. I'm like, hey, what do you want from me? And they look at me like, what are you talking about? I'm like, what do you want from me? Tell me right now, the God's honest truth, why you want me to coach you. We'll get in shape. I said, so if I give you a plan right now, then what? Well, I'm going to follow it. I said, then what? Well, okay. I was like, my point is, I don't need to hold your hand. I'm never going to put food in your mouth. I'm not going to lift the weights for you. This plan is a blueprint. If you don't follow the blueprint, you will fail. And they get all, they're like, I'm just telling you this now because in 3-4 weeks, when I don't talk to you for 4 days in a row, you're going to be like, well, you didn't check in with me. Why do I need to do that? If you're following the plan, just shut the hell up and follow my plan. Mm-hmm. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, that's why I give you 2 options. We can check in bi-weekly and your rate is this, or I give you a plan and I'll talk to you in 2 months to see where your progress is. You choose. They're drastically different prices because it's my time that if we check in every 2 weeks and you're, I had a vacation or I had this and I didn't eat right for 7 days. I was like, did you eat food in those 7 days? They're like, yeah. I'm like, why didn't you eat the right food? Mm-hmm. You don't have to have Tupperware and prep meals, but why didn't you eat better? Like, what did you eat? And they're like, well, I said, this is why I don't coach people, because I gave you the plan and you're not following the plan. I don't know if you think when you hire me, you're just drastically going to look like me. Is that what you think? Mm-hmm. And dude, I get real with people and they hang up the phone. I don't give a shit anymore because I paid my coach. I didn't talk to him until 3 weeks out. I'm talking 7 months of an off season to an in season. I'm like, hey, we're 3 weeks out. Here's my pictures. Where should we go? And I followed his plan to the T.
That's a long time to not to speak. Yep. Wow.
Because when I was in Dallas and I was in other places, I had other people that saw me, and I'd be like, dude, critique. What do you see or whatever? But sure. I need to bother his ass. Like, what was I gonna say? He joked with me the one day. He's like, dude, if you ever text me asking if you could have ketchup, I'm gonna hang the phone. I'm never gonna talk to you ever again. Like, that's what people do. Like, they get so granular. Like, well, can I have mustard? it's not my plan. I was like, it's
Thank you.
it's
Yeah.
like, come on, like these are the things that, like, if you're a week out, that's a very valid question. But if you're not competing and you're a normal person, yeah, fucking have mustard. Put ketchup on it. I don't care. It's not gonna make or break what you're doing. You lose fat when you build muscle. Ketchup is not gonna fucking hinder that. So you have ketchup. Go ahead. So I get really fired up about coaching and stuff like that because I love it when I have good clients. And
Yeah.
I started vetting my clients a way more than I used to. I just do it because it was money. But then they would just suck the time and energy out of my life. I don't need the money for that shit.
Yeah.
So I'll go in spurts, man, back and forth. No, I'll do 3 or 4 clients and I won't do it for another year. I won't coach for a year, then I'll bring them back. It's just random.
Yeah, I know like when I first really started, like when I moved to Texas pretty much in 2010, it was, getting or working at the gym and then going to, Ultimate Sport in Arlington and then really getting into it and obviously seeing changes, loving it, falling in love with it. And then friends back home, what happens? They message you. You post one pic and they haven't seen you since freaking high school. They text
Yeah.
you, "Hey man, I need a workout plan. Hey man, what do you recommend?" Dude, you touch base on it. I stopped helping, not
Yeah.
to be rude, but
Right.
because time is money. I spent my personal money on certifications, and
Sure.
even at the time, my dad was like, "I see where you're going with this. I see the potential. I know how dedicated you are. I'm gonna pay for one of your other certifications." And I was like, wow, okay, awesome. And I'm not gonna fail my dad paying for something. So what
No,
I did,
sure,
I
sure.
went and got it, took the test, passed it, and I was certified. And so when everybody sees that, and just because you're friends with them, the first thing that pops up is, if some of my friends watch this because they do follow it, not trying to hurt your feelings, but some people, just because they know you, they want a handout. They want something for
Uh,
free, and then they're like, "Oh man, well, what do you think I could do to help lose 15 pounds?" I'm like, "Okay, well, how long of a time frame?" "Oh, I'm going to Mexico in 7 days."
yeah,
Bro, they get
yeah,
one word responses from me because I understand they don't understand like what it feels like on our end, and so we just get so
yeah,
frustrated in it. And
yeah.
I am not trying to say I'm some type of effing guru, but
Right.
I know the basics. I know what's going to work, what's not going to work. I know how to give somebody a nutritional plan. I know how to do this like trial and error with some people. And it's like, I did it for a little
Yep.
bit just to try to help people because they're my friends. But what happens is you help them out, dude. You give them an inch and they go a mile, and then they fall
Yeah.
off, or like, "Oh man, I had a case of beer this weekend," and I'm just like, "What the fuck are you doing? I told
Yeah.
you to do X, Y, and Z, just like how you said. Like, don't do that." And then
Yeah.
what happens
It's
after
hard.
you dude? It was so aggravating, and it was I felt, man, like still to this day, if somebody asked me to do a meal plan, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I hit them with like $150 for a meal plan, something a little kind of ridiculous that I feel, and I'm like, hey, $150, 8 weeks, just to give them a price, so that way I know they're gonna say no. Because if I tell them, hey, $50, they might do it, but the thing is they fall off a week later, and it's so bad that they don't have this dedication and motivation. But I understand life happens. But
Yep.
when you are
Sure.
paying somebody, a professional who is
Yep.
certified, you're paying for their time and their knowledge that they spent their
Yep.
own money and time to get to be able to do
Yep.
this for those people. And
100%.
so yeah, I
Chris,
just
you know what I used to charge?
what's that
I used to charge $1,000
for?
a meal plan and training plan. That was my coaching fee. You paid up front for the year, $1,000, which is only like
Oh wow,
$90. Yep. So I worked with you for 12 months. You give
that's
me a
really
thousand
good though.
dollars up front, and people were like, Um, okay, yeah. And I'm like, listen, it's like 90. I broke it down like it was like $90 a month or something like that. But I paid up front, and they're like, because I was honest. I said, here's the deal. If in 3 weeks you come to me and you don't want to do this, you have all my information. I gave it to you already. Except that I didn't make changes and things like that. You
Mhm.
have 2 or 3 workouts I give you to rotate, give you your plan, all this stuff, and you still have it. You can leave tomorrow and you're still set. You could say you can never talk to me ever again. You still have my information I gave you that'll work.
Mhm.
And dude, I've had a lot of people, but also too that was a deterrent. I did it as a deterrent. If they weren't serious, I'm like $1,000. Dude, I had a lot of people pay that in the past few years, and um, everyone was like, "Oh my god, you people." I'm like, "Yeah, because if they're serious, they will." But I guarantee you, in 4 to 6 weeks, they quit.
Dude,
And
but
I'm
even
not.
at a year, that's really good, dude.
It is a good price. Oh yeah, it's great. But I knew deep down. I told my clients, I said,
Mhm.
"Here's the deal. You got to prove me wrong that you're not going to quit and fail." I'm like, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not going to be a naysayer and bring negativity on you and everything that means, but you're going to quit because when I tell you this is your fucking meal plan, 4 to 5 meals a day for the next year, you're going to look at that and be like, oh, I can't fucking do this. And they all do. And, and I say, listen, I started this journey when I was a skinny kid to build muscle because I hated the way I was treated as a kid. And I did it because I saw the change in other people's, how they treated me. And I figured, I was like, wow, if I just put on a little more weight, people are like, they don't call me names. And I was
Mhm.
like, holy shit, this is awesome. So that was my motivation. You're doing this because you spent the last 5 years of your life getting fat, not because you had any issues otherwise. Now
Sure.
your health is at risk. And the only time that you'll be serious, and I had clients that did this, is that the doctor looks in your face and said, "You're going to have a fucking problem when you get older."
Mhm.
Then you come to me for a nutritional regimen and stuff. And these are the people who do really well when
Mhm.
they're scared to shitless from their doctor.
Mhm.
And it's interesting. But the crazy part is my best clients are not the competitors. They're not the fitness people that love fitness. They are the people who don't know anything about working out. They start their first journey is with me, and I teach them how to do a bench press or whatever. Like, and again, not in person, just virtual. I send them all these videos, and I am there. I have a guy who does marathons as a hobby, and he's an IT guy. He's my best client. He
Wow.
listens to. I mean, he legitimately asked me before. He's like, "Hey, can you put up? Can we FaceTime and you show me that machine and I watch you do it?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, dude, absolutely." Put my tripod up and I'm like showing him a hammer strength machine and how to actually effectively, dude. Yes, I will fucking bend over backwards if that's what you want. But then I have the exact opposite who are just like, "Oh yeah, yeah, I know, oh, yeah, I'm good at workouts, whatever, blah, blah," and then I talked to him like a week later. I'm like, how was that workout? He's like, oh yeah, I didn't really know what that meant and how to do that. I was like, why don't you ask me? Like what? Like what? I know my terminology for lifting. It's like you can call something 17 different names. So
Sure.
what I'm trying to get at is my best clients for those who started their journey to their first step into a gym with me. They're my favorite because they're an unmolded piece of clay, and you
Mhm.
can teach them. They're a blank slate. The people who have years
Wow.
under their belt, like, oh, I used to lift in high school. I used to lift. Fuck, man, I don't want to deal with you because you're gonna think you know it all. So why are you even talking to me? You know what I mean?
Dude, I would
So
get people that would come into the store, and I remember this kid vividly. He came in the store, um, very, 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 very skinny, and that was back when this plague came around called ILS. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, imaginary last syndrome. Yes,
Dude,
yeah, it's a
this
terrible disease.
guy, this guy came in with like a Razorback freaking tee, tremendous ILS, and he, puts a weight gainer on the counter. You know how it was over at USN. I'm like, okay, cool, man. Do you need anything else? Like how, what's your, what are your supplements like? I mean, truthfully, I gave a shit about people.
Always,
Um,
yeah.
and he's like, oh man, I'm just doing this shake so I can hit my 10,000 calories a day. Dude, I said I literally stopped typing his phone number in for points. And I said, "You're eating 10,000 calories a day?" He's like, "Oh yeah, man, like this right here is going to get me right at my 10,000 calories." I said, "How much do you weigh?" Dude, I think he was 5'10" at 160 pounds.
Jesus Christ. If I ate 10,000 calories, I'd be 300 pounds in
Dude,
6 weeks.
I would have to consume a whole bottle of digestive enzymes.
Yeah, yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and he's like, "Oh
No
yeah,
way.
man, 10,000 calories. I do it all the time. I got a show in X, Y, and Z, and you know, people coming in the shop, and I was just like, dude, 10,000 calories. Like, do you understand? Like, Branch Warren, right down the street, doesn't even do
Mm.
half that. You know,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, you're doing
Oh, yeah.
10,000 calories. He's like, yeah, man, it's really hard to put on weight. I'm thinking about upping it. And I was like, dude, please stop. Just there's no chance. There's no shot you're doing 10,000 calories a day. You know, he's just one of those guys that just slams mass gainer shakes and thinks he's gonna get big. And but yeah,
Oh, those are
God,
the days that I thought that was the case.
dude, it's I'm not gonna lie, man. When I went back to Texas just this last week, his last like 9 days, I really, 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 really miss being in the fitness industry and having the store and interacting with
Yeah.
people and just freaking just talking about supplementation because I give a shit about
Yeah.
fitness and health, and I'm glad my
Yeah.
wife is the same way. She is an absolute monster in working out and like CrossFit and the whole nine.
Nice.
Dude, 7 months pregnant with our first kid, she was beating me in tennis. I suck at tennis, but she
Yeah.
is zipping back and forth on the court. We did a workout. You know, their workouts are like 20-minute, you know, every minute on
Yeah.
the
Quick.
minute. Holy cow,
Yeah.
dude. I almost had a fucking heart attack. And she's like, "Are you
Yeah.
okay?" Like, and she's pregnant. I'm like, God, I look like such
Yeah.
a bitch right now. But
Yeah.
but anyways,
That's awesome.
let's get into your product. So we've got the
Yeah.
CreaGrow. So
Sure.
what made you do the Korea Grow? And
Yeah.
then we'll get into, and then after that, if you can just kind of go into your other products.
Yeah. Sure. So, all right. So let's backtrack to when I was 16 years old. I got my driver's license and I went to GNC or I went to, I forget now, it wasn't GNC. It was a small store in my town, and my doctor actually owned it, and he wanted me to put me on creatine. So he's like, go in there and get Cell Tech from Muscle Tech. At the
Ah,
time, Cell
dude.
Tech, Muscle Tech was like the brand at the time, and now it's
Yep.
crap. But he's like, go get Cell Tech. So I read Cell Tech. It was 47 grams of sugar
Mm.
with 10 grams of creatine monohydrate, and that was it. Had some other stuff in it. I think it was some vitamins, whatever crap. And so you take it twice a day for the first 7 days, and on the bottle, dude, it had a claim: gain 7 pounds in 7 days. I did. And granted, it was probably just water weight, but I did. I
Yeah.
was more volumized. I looked
Yep.
different. I trained, dude. Creatine, and again, I will say this, is the best supplement in the planet. If you're not using it, your listeners, buy it. I don't care if you're buying mine. I don't give a shit. Actually, I do give a shit. Don't buy any shit. Buy NutriBio's monohydrate or buy my product. Yeah, you get what I'm saying. There is quality differences in creatine. So I was in an airport and working for Medtronic, and I'm like, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna create a product and see how it goes. And then just I had a manufacturer lined up, but I'm not gonna make it this. I want it to be very similar to Cell Tech, the original Cell Tech. Not 47 grams of sugar. It's 25 grams of sugar, and it's dextrose. Dextrose is the same sugar as your blood sugar, and it's like that for a reason. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go through this. I got a sample of it. It tasted phenomenal, and I came out with it. I used it for the first week, and I felt the same way I felt when I was 16. The product was back in my hands that I used when I was a kid, and I was like so excited. So I poured my heart and soul on social media, telling everyone about my product. And I'm not kidding, man. It sold we've sold 144 units of that within 2 months. It was gone. It was gone. I was so excited. And then I realized, I was like, crap, I don't have a lot of money to do this. Like, I need to make more. And man, so let's go into what CreaGrow is. So CreaGrow is and I made it a little bit different. And now I will show you guys. Grab this here. Now, the CreaGrow that Chris is holding, or Chris talked about, is actually going away, and it's going away for a reason, and I'll explain why. So I use CreAlkaline. So crealkaline is a buffered version of creatine monohydrate. What buffered means is it's a higher pH level, which means it's more basic. Your blood pH is a 7. Crealkaline is a pH of 9. It basically, in essence, is going to make it so it absorbs into the muscle cell so much more efficiently than monohydrate, and it needs a smaller amount. Okay, so it's going to still have the same ATP production. It's going to still have some strength and all that stuff. Same everything, minus water retention because you don't need as much of it. And sometimes people get stomach discomfort from monohydrate. So use crealkaline. It's amazing. Loved it. But the manufacturer calls me up a year ago and says, hey, the lead time in manufacturing terms, what that means is if you place an order, this is the length of time it's going to take for them to make it. The lead time is going to be 8 months.
Oh my God.
I was like, you've got to be joking me. Like my company as I'm building is built on my CreaGrow product. It was the flagship of my brand. You're joking. It's like, no, this is when COVID hit, supply chain.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be honest with the viewers out there. Yeah, was there price increases because of shipping? Yes. Were a lot of these issues for supply chain real? No. They were the point that these companies needed in order to jack up their prices to make more money. They did it on purpose, and I know that for a fact.
It's a
yes,
scam, dude.
It was a big scam. Were there shortages in some stuff? Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying there wasn't, but so I was like, shit. So I'm like, all right, well, the company I myself manufactured for owned crealkaline. No one else could use it. They own it. Fuck. So I'm like, all right, I got to change it. I didn't want to use monohydrate because it would have been identical to Celtec. I would have been like, that would have been ripping it off, and I can't morally do that. So reach out to some connections of mine, and my friend's like, hey, dude, I have a connection for the guy, one of the reps for concrete. I'm like, really? I love creatine hydrochloride. Love
the HCl.
Yep. Love it. So guy got me in touch with them. I signed a trademark agreement with concrete, and that's what's in here. Now, also, what I added was estrogen. Estrogen is a nutrient uptake enhancer from New Live Science. It is increases absorption of creatine by 40.15%. So not only did the alpha lipoic acid help glucose uptake, and with faster glucose uptake, the creatine would absorb faster. Now I just added 40% more absorption with estrogen as well. So this, and it's in a smaller container. So this is half the size container as the CreaGrow, because when you open CreaGrow, it's half empty. My manufacturer at the time didn't have a smaller bottle, which was absolute bullshit. So this is full to the brim. It's full to the brim.
Heck yeah.
And so this is actually about a few levels above my original product, which I'm very happy with. And I'm sending this to you, Chris. You're going to love it.
Dude, I'm ready, bro.
I've had not one person tell me that they didn't like it over, other than they love the original flavor. But the original flavor Performance Pop is coming in this as well. And I have a new flavor coming out called X Juice. So my son's name is Xander with an X.
Yep.
So X Juice is orange citrus. It's phenomenal. The flavor is insane. So that'll be the 3 flavors. We have Swole Candy, which is like a Starburst Skittles-ish flavor, Performance Pop, and X Juice. Those are going to be the 3 flavors of all the products. So that is the story on creatine for my CreaGrow product. I do not train without it at all. Every day, 2 scoops a day, one pre-training, 1 post-training. Now, that perfect segue into everything else. So I have my pre-grow, and I wish I had a bottle of it here. Of course, not a stock. It became faster selling than CreaGrow, and the reason why I finally realized this is, Chris worked in the industry. There's a huge demographic that people that want crack. They just want it. Yeah. They want a hardcore product. But there's a bigger demographic that wants one right in the middle. So they don't feel like shit. They perform really well. They're good energy. They just feel good. And I sat down and when I formulated my product, I wanted to make it. And honestly, when you see the bottle, when I send you when it was back in stock, it's there's instructions for CrossFitters on it. And of course, I didn't use the word CrossFit. I use functional fitness athletes because that demographic wants something they can use, but they can't be highly caffeinated because they have a lot of cardiovascular training that they do. They'll feel like crap. So when I got the serving, I'm partnered with a CrossFit box here in Mesa, Arizona, and the owner of it is a insane athlete. I mean, she is phenomenal. And I'm like, Jen, I'm going to give you half a serving because on the bottle it's half a serving. And I'll go into some of the ingredients and stuff like that. So half a serving is for functional fitness athletes. She took half a serving and she said that was the best workout I've ever had.
Oh, hell
And
yeah.
it didn't overstimulate her. It didn't make her feel like crap. She didn't have palpitations. She was just training, focused, and it was awesome. So I was like, okay, this is it. This is the form I'm going with, and I went with it. It's got 2 trademark ingredients: nitrosogen, which is an arginine silicate, which is an amazing vasodilator. It has hydroprime, which is a glycerol monostearate, help hydrate your muscle and muscle volumize it. It's got 200 milligrams of caffeine anhydrous, which is the fast acting caffeine, and then 100 milligrams of dicaffeine malate, which yields 50 milligrams.
Yep.
Right. There's no crash. So you have a nice 200 milligram caffeine, which is not going to make anyone too crazy. But if you're a functional fitness athlete and take a half a serving, you're getting 150 milligrams of caffeine, which is a cup of coffee. So perfect for those people. Yeah. And I use 6,000 milligrams of citrulline malate as well. And the pre-workout is just it's like I said, it took off way more than I thought it would. And I absolutely love it. And I've had people that are high stim people use it and they loved it as well. I get messages at least 1 to 2 a day on when it's coming back in stock from all the customers that I've sold it to across the country. Then I'm like, wait, okay, great pre-workout. I have an intra-workout, which is EAAs, branched amino acids, and electrolytes, which is your normal intra-workout product. Phenomenal product. Then I created a non-stim vasodilator, which I remember you had yours. That's what I brought into the shop from Savage. It's I yet to find one that competes with it in terms of how effective it is. I use 3 trademark ingredients: hydroprime, vasodrive AP, and oh my god, my mind's drawing a blank. I forget the third one. Anyways, that one sold faster than pre-grow. So like everything I brought out was just my vitamin's really good too, but I'm not going to say it.
I'm excited to try that, dude. I'm very excited because I need a good vitamin.
And it'll be in the mail on Monday for you, my friend. And what I did, it's a natural whole food vitamin, because how many people take a vitamin and 30 minutes later they piss lime green because nothing absorbs in your body. So I used natural whole foods.
I want to touch base on that because that has been such a long time. Like my favorite multivitamin for the longest time was Animal Pack. Yeah. And of
your
course,
body can't absorb that.
Way too much. But when I took that, I did, from what I feel, I'm hoping it's not like a placebo, but I what I felt was more strength, more energy in the gym. I felt better, but I'm like, damn, I'm still seeing this in the piss, right? Because obviously, like you said, your body's not absorbing it. For anybody out there, and you see that, and you think that was in your body and it's working, it is not. You're pissing that shit out.
It's just coming right out, man.
And how do you fix that?
So 2 reasons. Okay, first of all, the sources of the vitamins have to be different. So I use whole foods instead of actual extract vitamins. So your body utilizes the vitamins in the whole food. So when you see the capsules, they're capsules. They're not tablets. It's green and sparkly. It's speckled. So there's actual piece of whole food in it. So that's one way. Second way is how I go to market with it is, you have to take vitamins with a dietary fat. Most vitamins are fat soluble. So if you don't have fat in your stomach when you eat them, it just goes right out because there's nothing to hold on to it to break it down efficiently. So eat. If you're gonna not have anything in the morning, you want your vitamin in your coffee, have cream in your coffee, or take a spoonful of peanut butter and then take your vitamin. That'll eliminate some of the breakdown. So that's the 2 reasons why. And what's crazy is the vitamin sells really well, and it's a 45 serving vitamin, so you're getting more than a month's supply. And I create it because I use vitamins and I use a multivitamin, regardless of what people say. I think
Mhm.
there's no way in hell you're gonna get all your vitamins and minerals in your day unless you're a
Yeah.
super, super strict dieter. No one is, man. No one
Yeah.
is. So take a vitamin and at least you're getting something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, so that was it. And then, also too, so this the first place to hear it is I'm coming out with a clinical line. So I'm coming out
Oh
with a
shit.
cardiovascular product, a cholesterol product, a liver and kidney, and a digestive product, which is
I'm all about
both
it.
digestion and digestive enzymes as well as probiotics in one pill, not multiple, one. So um, they
Wow.
are so they're right behind me. I have some of the stuff on it which you can't see, but yeah, so it's gonna be the logo. Instead of having a PS on it for performance supplements, it's gonna be an RX on the forehead.
Are
And
they
no,
labeled right now?
no,
Okay. Okay.
I'll send you a picture. They'll be in production in June. We're finalizing one of the trademark ingredients for biopurine is
Oh, it's
being
very
held
good.
up. They're just yeah, oh yeah, dude. The heart product and the liver product are very expensive.
Do you have
I'm just gonna
CoQ10?
put it. Oh yeah, ubiquinol.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
So there is a each of the formulas are jammed, and I'm really excited because I take all of those anyways. I usually call them clinical, we call them preventatives, or for those super supplement users, the steroid users, this is what is going to help your cardiovascular system, your liver, all that stuff in the most efficient way. And I'm so excited to bring those out, man. And what's really cool is I'm inverting the label, so the bottles are
Ooh,
clear, all the pills are red, and the label is clear.
that's gonna be wicked, dude.
Dude, I'll send you a picture. You're gonna love it. It looks so good. So that'll be out as well when the new flavors land in mid-June. So I'm just really excited for that stuff as well. And yeah, it's the just stoked.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear that clinical part because in the process of getting out of the military, when you're getting medically retired in that sense, you go to the VA and you do all like a head to toe evaluation. So I had
Yeah,
a heart doctor look over everything. He's been a heart doctor for over 25 years. Dude's old as dirt. And
yeah,
uh, unbeknownst to me, I have a heart murmur. I had no clue, dude.
shit.
I had
Oh,
no clue. Does it bother me thinking about it on a regular basis? To be honest with you, no. I don't think about it. I
right,
asked him, to what severity is it? And he said it's soft. So I did some research and I talked to some people, and they said it is very common for a lot of people to be born with soft heart murmurs. But I
yeah,
will say this, and this is not being a hypochondriac or being a conspiracy theorist. Um,
COVID.
at, dude, so I've never had it to my knowledge, and I've been tested a lot
Yeah,
in the military because, dude,
yeah,
if you don't want to go to work on a Friday, bro, say you have COVID, go get swabbed, you're off for the day. It's bullshit.
yeah,
But anyways,
yeah, man.
when I got
Yep,
the first shot, when I got the
yep.
first shot, sitting in the chair, boom, jabs me, get the shot. I'm super pissed, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I'm very upset that I
Yeah,
had to do
I
it,
hate it.
but it was
Me
for the
too.
family at the time because the military is very, very good and foundation wise. So I got the shot. I started walking away. Within 30 seconds, my whole entire body got this very warm flush. I'm like, God, there's no way. I just got this. I'm okay. For the next 90 minutes, I had trouble breathing
Shit.
instantly. Trouble breathing. I'm sitting there. I already have like nasal issues or whatever, and they looked at that and they said I have a deviated septum, and but I've never felt like this, and I'm like, wow.
Right,
And then I have a Garmin Instinct Solar Tactical. I've had it for this one for 2 years, and I've never had my watch go freaking berserk and make a bunch of noises that I had no clue about. And it was telling me
right.
that I had irregular heart rhythm, like heartbeats. And I'm like, whoa, I've never seen that. So I checked my heart rate, and my heart rate for an extended period of time was sitting at 139. And I was like, wow,
Jesus,
that's pretty high. And so I go get checked out, and then he tells me I have a heart murmur, and I didn't tell him that I had irregular heartbeat. And I've never started having like chest pains and stuff like that since I got that damn thing.
dude. We
So
there's been a study that came out, and I'm in the cardiovascular world, and there has been a massive spike in cardiovascular issues.
like
Massive.
myocarditis.
Yeah, that tachycardia, mm, arrhythmias, and I'm in the arrhythmia space, and it's huge, and
That
we've seen an
sucks, man.
influx of and I'll say that we've seen an influx in business, and that's not a it's a good thing for the company, but it's not a good thing for
Of
people,
course, yeah.
because more arrhythmias means more issues, blah blah. But luckily, we're on the front lines of it. We can detect them early, and et cetera. I'm not going to go into that stuff, but yeah, man, it's been there's an actual study going on right now, and they finally came out publicly, or at least in the medical world, and said, yeah, it's due to influx, because
Dude, I knew it.
there was no arrhythmias prior to the shot, and then or history of them in the families to have. This is the study that's going on currently, and this will be
Wow.
published in the next probably year or two fully, because they have to do an actual trial like that. They have to actually a retrospective trial. It's going to take some time, but man, it's real. And I was
Yeah.
also like you. I'm like, oh, my conspiracy theorist. Yeah, no, it's real. And it's unfortunate, but it's yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I like as soon as you said clinical line, I was like, oh my God. You know, like you were saying it faster than what my brain could process. I don't know if that's from the shot, but
Yeah.
I was like, oh yes, he's got freaking like kidney, liver, in the heart. I'm like, oh,
Right.
this is fantastic. So,
Yeah, I'm really
um,
excited for it.
okay. So then, what about your? I'm missing. I feel like I'm missing a product. You did the Krieg, or you did your carbs. You did your BCAs, your pre workout, your non stem, and your vitamins,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, no, I think that's
Okay.
pretty much it. But what I do have in the works, and I'm waiting for my sample to come in, is
Ooh,
a functional gummy. So
are you
I'm
doing
playing
protein
around with
gummies?
no, like it's going to be for hydration. So
Oh,
it's going to
dude,
have
heck yes.
yeah. So you can take it if you're a hiker. You can eat them if you're going to the gym. You can do it's not like a pump gummy, but it has vast all ingredients in it. But yeah. So I'm just the manufacturer I'm working with for that's a little bit lackadaisical on getting me what I need. So I'm not sure if that's going to be this year. Who knows? But it's already priced out, and I already have the formula done. I just got to get the sample of it to test it. Um, but yeah, it's really cool. I'm using an ingredient. I'll disclose. I don't really give a shit. It's called Hydra 4G. It's a glycerol uh, type of ingredient where it's going to pull in water to the muscle to hydrate you. So
Mm,
it's really neat. So I'm really excited for it, because listen. At the end of the day, man, um, people like candy, dude. They like eating stuff. They
all the
like,
time.
you know what I mean? Like, yeah, so I do too. And it's just like, if you can come out with something that you can eat, before the gym, during the gym, whatever, hiking, golfing, whatever, it's going to be functional that way, where yeah. So that's really cool. And um, beyond that, man, for the brand right now, that's going to be the next. I'm going to do that. That's going to be the stuff for the next at least year.
That's good.
Um, I have a lot of other things in mind, but yeah, that's really where it's going to sit for the next year.
How's that gummy? Do you think is gonna like metabolize in the body? Like, is something just very quick into the system,
Yeah,
or
so yeah,
okay?
it's going to be, of course, simple sugar. It's going to be sugar of some sort,
Yeah,
carb of some sort. S7, which is seven. Oh, that's my other ingredient in Basso Grow. It's S7. It's seven plant-based ingredients. Actually increases your vasodilation over 300% in the 3 hour period, which is really
damn,
cool. Yeah, so it's a really good ingredient. That's going to be in it with Hydro 4G and then just some sugar. So simple but effective.
dude, you're gonna kill it at CrossFit
And I'm excited.
events, and
Yeah, dude,
those
I'm
people are
excited.
gonna eat that up, bro. No pun
Yeah,
intended.
I'm excited. No, right, right. Yeah.
Let's see here. Are you ever gonna compete again?
No. Um, I, I shouldn't say never. I may just randomly do a show one day, because I'm usually in stage shape all the time. I'm just a lean guy to begin with, but
Yeah.
um, If you had to be an if I had to give you an answer right now, it'd be no. It'd be definitely
Mhm,
no. And the reason why is I've done it all. I have it all in terms of like work competitors want in their life. I have a
mhm.
supplement company. I've been on the Arnold stage. I worked for a supplement. I did all that fun stuff, and there's no need for me to prove to anyone or get a $5 trophy. You know what I mean? But going through that process will be fun again.
Cool. Well, brother, do you want to kind of have like any kind of closing statements, or I'm gonna do the overlay of that picture you sent
Yeah,
me of performancesubs.com
yeah, yeah.
with your
Sure.
products on there as well, so that way people can see that. And then is that just pretty much where they go off of, just the performancesubs.com for you?
Yeah, performanceup.com right now. It's in retailers, performance supplements in retailers, in Rexius Nutrition's in North Dakota. I have a place in Mexico. If anyone was in Mexico, there it's in Juarez. Some places in there's one store in El Paso. But yeah, for most part, that's it for now. Once the line it has all the flavors, it's going to be a lot of different stores. I
Okay.
just didn't want to go to market with it until I had more of a shelf presence.
Yeah.
One
Yeah.
flavor for a
Definitely
store is
get
kind
it.
of shitty.
Yeah.
And I know you do. But no, I mean, in essence, um, I'm the most accessible person on earth, and I shouldn't have it like that. But if any of you listeners have a question about sports nutrition, entrepreneurship, whatever it may be, you could shoot me an email. If you message any one of our social medias, it comes right to me, and I talk to every person. Um, my email is info@performancesupp.com, just like the website. So you can email us questions, and it's just us. I mean me. Um, but I'm here to help anyone have any questions, concerns. Don't ask me to do your nutrition regimen. I'm just kidding, just kidding. But yeah, I'm here for anyone, and I really appreciate being on here, man. And
Yeah.
I'm really happy we're still connected, we're still friends, and happy you're doing well. And it's just a blessing to being able to live the life I have and travel across the country, meeting people like yourself, and
Mhm.
um, stay in contact and everything like that. So just thank you so much for having me on here, man.
Dude, it was a no-brainer, and for the people out there, I texted Alex, and I think his next response was, "I'm in!" Exclamation point. Happened super quick,
Yeah, that
you know.
was it. Yeah,
I was in Texas for 9 days, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like obviously I don't want to take all my stuff. I'm gonna enjoy the time because my wife
yeah,
getting deployed,
sure.
and so I was like, dude, like, and then I see your stuff all the time. You're very active, and I'm like, man, besides all the news updates and drama and political stuff and that I do
Yeah,
truly like to get into, I'm like,
sure.
man, my background is just like, for the longest time, was fitness. It's what I enjoy. I freaking like subconsciously count my carbs, fats, and protein
Yeah, yeah,
anytime I consume
always.
something, so I'm like, dude, I gotta get Alex on here. I freaking love your brand, dude. And like, when I met you to where you're doing, like, in like what you're doing now, family, the whole nine, dude. It's great to see people succeed, and it's even better when you know them personally. So super
Sure.
excited, and dude, I mean, thank you for sponsoring this
Absolutely.
episode, and going forward. And
Yeah,
you
love happy to.
guys, yeah, I'm gonna put the link in the description. Go check out his supplements. Gonna have a little discount code in there for you guys to use, and like he just said earlier, he's coming out with a clinical line as well. I mean, what more do you want this guy to do for you to try his supplements? He's gonna have, from A to Z, he's gonna have you covered. All right.
Yes,
And I'm not just gonna bring something on here because somebody wants to, like, hey, I want you to sponsor the episode. Here's what it is. That's not what I'm gonna do. If I can open this right now and show you that I have taken 75% of this. Okay. So
100%. Oh yeah,
it's going to be great going forward. Dude, I'm really excited for you. I can't wait to see the other endeavor with the clinical side of it. Um,
dude,
but
can't wait.
yeah, it's thank you for coming on very quickly and making time,
Yeah, man,
brother. Um,
absolutely, dude. Always a pleasure.
Yeah. So for the viewers out there, don't forget to go onto our Instagram, Spotify, YouTube, and Facebook. At Intel Within Podcasts. It's going to be some of it. I believe most of it's going to be plural. It's we're going to have him on here. Going to try to get this uploaded in the next day, and that way you guys can have this for your viewing or your listening pleasure. And once again,
Oh,
thank
yeah.
you so much, Alex. I appreciate it.
Likewise, man. Thanks so much, pal.
Yeah.